It's my pleasure to introduce Scott Cuppari. Not only is Scott a friend of mine, he's also a West Virginia native, a WVUIMC graduate, and an Integrate veteran. And he's done several tours with Integrate. As a global marketing director for Coca-Cola Freestyle, he leads consumer marketing for the brand and specializes in all things digital, social, mobile, web, and gaming. He advises global markets and Coke customers on how to use social media and digital platforms to build relationships and deliver consumer value via technology. Please give a warm, Integrate welcome to Scott Cuppari.
Thank you. How's everyone doing? It's amazing. This is my third time speaking at Integrate. I only do the odd years, right? 13, 15, and now 17. And it's an honor to be back. I love this. Is probably one of the highlights of all the conferences and things that I do, because it really is coming home, which is fun for me. So as Rick mentioned, I'm a Clarksburg kid. Grew up in Clarksburg. I got my undergrad from WVU and immediately moved south, right? I was tired of all the cold weather and the snow and everything else, and I tried to go to New York, and my starting salary would have been 13 grand. So I realized, well, I need 8 roommates in a studio apartment to even make it work, and that's not going to happen. So, if you're going to be poor, you might as well be warm. So I went south. So again, thanks for having me. My presentation for today is really about loyalty and how brands and companies like Coke need to redefine loyalty in the mobile age. Everything's changing, and as you'll see through examples in some of our own internal and external studies, it's a complex, difficult conversation that you need to tackle, and you could tackle it for big company, small company, really doesn't matter. So I've already spoken a little bit about myself. What I didn't mention is I've got really a whole brain when it comes to marketing. I spent 10 years on the ad agency side, worked in automotive, travel, tourism, fast food, retail, really cool brands. And then when my oldest daughter was born, no joke, I'm in the hospital holding a newborn, and a recruiter calls and says, hey, would you consider going client side? It's like, heck yeah, why not? Right? I'm tired of traveling 80% of the time. So I went to Earthlink for a couple years in the technology industry, learned a lot, and my media consultant, fantastic lady, former Coke person, said, you know what, there's a job opening at Coke, you will learn more in 6 months there than you'll learn in another year, 2, 3 years staying at Earthlink. Go check it out. And I did not get hired for that job, got referred to a second job, did that interview, got the offer, and the person declined the offer on the first job. So it kind of ended up where I intentionally started as a media person, right? I was media buying and media planning. That was my entire background. And within 6 weeks, 7 weeks of being at Coke and a newborn and all these other things, I decided, you know what, I'm going to the IMC program. So all the craziness and the chaos and everything at home with a new job, just got put all that on steroids as well, just jumping into this program, as you all can attest, right? But it gets better on the backside of it. Just stick with it. You'll be amazed of what you can do with all the free time you'll find once you get past capstone. Get past capstone, definitely. Okay, so enough about me. Who knows what Coca-Cola Freestyle is? Have any of you seen the 3 units on the countertop here? Awesome. So Coke Freestyle, the Big Red Machine, was introduced in 2009. We had 106 drinks on the machine at that point in time. And the reason we did this was because consumers were tired of the 6 or 8 choices that they had on a fountain machine when you go into a restaurant. And the consumer demand indicated that they weren't satisfied, and we saw sales decline rapidly in food service, if you will. So we came out with the first Freestyle machine. When I joined the Freestyle team in 2011, we had 400 of these. Now we've got 45,000 of all of these units around the world. The second machine that you see is also a Freestyle machine. Unless you work in a drive-thru, you've never seen this. But this is the version of Coca-Cola Freestyle for drive-thrus. So when you pull up to a Wendy's or a Burger King and you know that, hey man, this is my Wendy's and I get Freestyle inside, 9 times out of 10 they're going to have one of these as well. So when you're in a hurry and can't go inside, you can get your same drink through the drive-thru. Very different design, right? More operationally focused. But again, all the choices that you find in the big red one. The middle machine is roughly a year old. It's also Coca-Cola Freestyle. Same technology, but really meant for smaller restaurants. Because if you're a McDonald's or a Burger King, great, you've got the floor space for the big one. But if I'm a Subway, tiny footprint, very few tables, if any, right? We need something where you could literally remove the old machine and just set in the same footprint a Freestyle machine. So that's how that was born and developed. And there's roughly 2,000 of these. And they offer 80 drinks, not the full set of 150. And then the 2 little units on the end, no one's seen in the US. The one next to last is a machine for small offices and small restaurants. You'll find it in Europe. And then the one on the very end is really a head unit of everything else, and all the drinks and all the cartridges are down in the cabinetry. And we've got a few of these testing right now in Europe as well. So this is the family of Coke Freestyle. Tons of patents. Somebody asked me in the 621 class earlier, did an agency develop this? Or was this done internally at the Coca-Cola company? This was internal. We've got a team, I'm a part of a group on Freestyle of 180 people. There's only 4 marketing people. 100 are engineers, electrical, mechanical, you name it, to bring this thing to life. We're working on the next generation of this machine as well. Because if you think about it, the red machine is almost 10 years old. You don't keep a phone for 10 years. You don't keep a computer for 10 years, right? So we're thinking about how to make that first generation a lot better, bigger, more technologically stable, and more interactive. So with Freestyle, the whole proposition is about choice, right? We created the machine to expand from 6 to 8 offers or drinks to over 180 now. And most of the drinks you can't find anywhere else in bottle can. But what most people don't know is for Coca-Cola Freestyle, we also have a mobile app. Did you know we had an app? See a few faces, yes. So the app, who did this as a kid, right? You walk up to a machine and you do your, who said it? Suicide, right? Kamikaze, suicide, etc. The number one complaint was I can never do that consistently. I don't remember what I poured at Burger King yesterday to go to the theater next week. And the funny, kitschy thing that we did in the mobile app was allow you to gain consistency. So you can create whatever you want in the app. You could save it, you can name it, you can share it. And now you've got the consistency, so no matter where you go, you can get your summer mix. One of the other things about the app, when we launched the app, it was all about mixing. And we knew we had to transition quickly into more of a loyalty program. How do we do that? And I want to talk through 3 different things, right, for today. There's so many ways that you can define loyalty. It really depends on what lens you're looking at it through, right? Are you looking at it from a brand or from the consumer side? We'll talk about what I really think of this big machine, this loyalty machine. Not the freestyle machine, has nothing about freestyle, but loyalty, starting a loyalty program is a big, complex undertaking. And we'll talk about what we've learned on freestyle. And then, as I mentioned, my big team of engineers, we will talk about how to engineer the future in the context of loyalty as well. So the loyalty lens, how do you define it? How would you define loyalty? See, is it when a consumer buys the same brand every time, regardless of price? Maybe. Regardless of convenience? Potentially. Folks will tell me, I will go out of my way to go to this Wendy's that has a freestyle machine instead of going to this Wendy's that's down the block that doesn't have a freestyle machine, right? That's one way to define loyalty. Does loyalty mean a rewards program? Maybe, but that's thinking about it very tactically, right? Why do we want a rewards program? Don't do it just because you think we need to have one. What does it really mean, right? What's the benefit, or what are you looking for from that consumer? Here's a definition that's a little bit long, but one I totally subscribe to, right? It's a complex, multifaceted relationship between a consumer and a brand that asks that consumer to do small things now, in the short term, to really unlock a bigger, more meaningful relationship. You wouldn't ask somebody on a first date for their social security number, would you? Creepy. Creepy. But if you can ask small things along the way, that's how you build the big relationship. Loyalty is also brand love, right? So if you can do all the right things in the right sequence, you can eventually get to brand love. And that's what everybody wants. But does brand love mean that you've got increased sales? Maybe, maybe not. So here's a way to crack that. So, I promise we're not going to do karaoke this morning, but the one consumer review starts off with the song line, every breath you take, right? Every move you make, we'll be watching you, right? So, absolutely, consumers think that Big Brother is watching, right? But not in a creepy way. Man, if you do it in a creepy way, if you start asking for all this stuff up front, you're screwed. Absolutely screwed. They're going to tune out immediately. She will get up, leave the table, and there is no second date. Period. But the interesting piece to this is consumers are in a ton of loyalty programs. They like loyalty programs. How many of you, so 72% are in one, on average, consumers report belonging to 9 different programs? Who here's in 9 or more programs? Yeah, most of us. Do we even think about it? No. I don't think about my Delta SkyMile program until when? Until I'm ready to board a plane or go back home, right? I don't think about my Moe's loyalty program until I'm dining at a Moe's or AMC Theater or any of these other places. But it's there. I know it's there. I know I've given all these companies my data. I have no idea how much that data is worth. but I've given it in exchange for something. Now, when we switch to mobile programs, as a lot of loyalty programs are right now, it makes it even better because I refuse to leave the house without my phone. That loyalty program is always with me. I don't have to worry about a physical loyalty card or a punch card or anything anymore that I would always forget. And I would, in those old programs, I would go to Moe's and think, oh crap, I can't get my punch today because I left the card on my dresser, or my wife's got the loyalty card at Best Buy and I don't know my number, and it was way too complex, right? So, and 62% of consumers say that they make more store visits because of these programs. Now that's what ultimately we want as a brand, right? We want you to come in more. We want you to buy more. We want that two-way dialogue, not just for us to talk at you. But what are some of the implications of this consumer lens? Well, how you ask for permission and information is critically important. If you have a mobile app, as we have a mobile app, if you install the app and then you start asking for name and age and all of these things up front and your location, and you need to sign into push notifications and you need to do this and this, well, that's the first date analogy, right? I just downloaded your app. I don't know what your app really does, but now you're asking me for all this stuff. Hit pause for just a second and maybe separate all those questions and all those permissions. Let's not ask for the permission to track your location up front. Let's wait until you want to search for a store near you and put the permission in the context for why you're asking it. And 9 times out of 10 in that environment, consumers will say, absolutely. I want the convenience to find a store. I'll allow you to track my location. Or if I know you're going to send me an offer or a deal, yeah, I'll opt in to allowing you to send me a push notification on the phone. But again, asking for all that up front, it's a disaster. Now, from a brand perspective, as a Coke guy, we're going to talk about ATM machines twice. So we can look at the consumer as nothing more than an ATM, right? Give me the quickest way to get to your pocketbook. I want your money. Okay. Some brands do that, right? It's all about the transaction. And that's fine, but it's really one-sided because you can't gain loyalty in this manner. You need the emotional connection in order to get to the loyalty. It can't just be about transactional. But the gray on white doesn't look very good here. So it says brand view engagement. But if your focus isn't necessarily on transactional, if it's all about engagement, well, who the heck cares that somebody liked my Facebook page? Does that drive a sale? I don't know. Can you track it? I don't know. Did they give me a thumbs up? Yeah, but so what, right? And because they follow you or like you, are they really a fan? Are they loyal? Or did you just have compelling content one day that they said, okay, this is cool, and they may never buy your brand after that? So I don't think it's an either or. I don't think it's transactional or engagement. You have to have both. And if you know anything about Coca-Cola, right, we love telling stories. We love fun, engaging things. We've done happiness machines. We've done happiness factories. We've done a number of different things. But this is, I'm about to play a video from Spain 2 years ago. And it's our take on an ATM. We're giving away 100 euros. And we'll suggest ways for you to use the money. No tears, no crying. So you can do engagement, but this is really engagement, right? This is memorable. This drives loyalty, and it didn't drive a sale that day at all, right? But it's that lasting memory. It's that warm and fuzzy, right? It's that first time you had a real Coke when you were a kid, or the first time you saw the freestyle machine, or the first time you did any of those things. This is a moment in time that they will always remember. Not only the person receiving the money to give away, but the recipient as well. But when you think about loyalty, right, we're at a point of conflict. So if purchase decisions arise from conscious choice, okay, I choose to buy Coke versus a competitor. Easy there. It really conflicts with what the behavioral folks say, because loyalty maybe comes from habit, right? My mom always purchased Coke. I had the habit of having that available, and that informed my decisions later in life. My first car, right, was something my father and I bought. I drove that same brand until I started making my own decisions, but for a point in time, I was loyal to that brand that I had that first interaction with. But if it's really about habit forming, as a brand, man, we're in trouble, right? How do you define it? What is it? And from a brand lens, as I mentioned earlier, it's really complicated. It's really expensive. It's really complex to run a loyalty program. And you have to do it right. You have to stay on this side of creepy, not that side of creepy. So this big machine that is loyalty, it's a big business. It's super expensive. One of the biggest consumer loyalty programs that existed was My Coke Rewards, launched almost 11 years ago now. Who is or has been a My Coke Rewards member? Okay, so the little codes under the cap or within the fridge pack, you would have to enter those codes online, register for an account, enter those codes, and what you may not realize is every point every My Coke Rewards point that we gave away was a liability on our financial records to our stockholders. Every Delta Sky Mile is a big liability for Delta because it's out there, it's a credit, and they have no idea when that credit will be called, and consumers can get those free flights or free drinks or whatever. So it's complex. And 10 years in, we just announced a few months ago that we are shutting down our My Coke Rewards program because it got too big, too complex. Nobody wants to look at a cap under a code or look at a code under a cap, go online and enter it. Not going to happen anymore. And nobody wants to accumulate 1,000 points to get a free fridge pack. Well, man, the value exchange there is way out of whack. It's just way too complex. But when you think about rewards or getting rewarded for something you do anyway and not make the consumer to jump through a whole bunch of hoops, that's loyalty, right? That's something that's meaningful. And the trait that influences loyalty is that sense of, you know me, right? You get me. You know what I want. I've demonstrated what I want and what I drink. I don't need to jump through hoops to tell you if you already know what I'm pouring, right? But it has to be about me, the consumer, not me, the brand. Loyalty is symbiotic, right? It's that two-way relationship. Loyalty has to be on autopilot, right? It can't require a ton of steps, can't make me jump through hoops, can't make me do something I don't already want to do. But if it can convince me to purchase one more drink, take one more flight, do one more thing, buy one more burrito, I'm all in. So we want to define loyalty moving forward as this thoughtful path to thoughtless loyalty. I don't care how complex a loyalty program is technically, right? I deal with IT and privacy and legal folks all day long. Just because it's complex for me as a company to bring a loyalty program to life, don't put that burden on the consumer. Don't make them jump through hoops to solve your shortcoming, right? Solve it first and then launch instead of the reverse. Don't just put it out there as a shiny object. Well, we'll see how it tests. Well, if you've got skepticism going in, the consumer is going to tell you that and a whole lot more on the backside of it. One of the best, easiest to understand loyalty programs I think is AMC Theaters. You know exactly what you get. As a user, anytime I buy a drink or a popcorn, I get a free upsize. I buy a small, I get a medium. I buy a small Coke, I get a medium. I have special offers available to me. Who doesn't want something free or discounted, right, through a loyalty program? Free is for me. And easy status. I know that for every dollar I get a point, and at certain increments, I get money back. Who has the Starbucks app? Right? What happens? You buy a coffee, you get stars. Pretty easy. You don't have to do anything to get stars, but you love watching that cup fill up. But do you go out of your way if they tell you, well, come in on an afternoon out of a normal peak to get double stars? Hell yeah, I'm all over it. Constantly. We have bags of ground coffee in my house. We don't even have it's crazy. I can't even. But you know what? But my 8 and 12-year-olds are now also clued into, Mama's going to Starbucks. Let's go. I want an ice whipped frappuccino this, whipped cream that. It's like, all right, just go and have fun. It's all about the stars, right? But their program used to be pretty simple. And then maybe 9-10 months ago, they changed it. What did you have to do? Now I need more stars to get my free coffee. Well, how do I get stars again? How many stars do I get? Even there, while it's the most popular loyalty app, there's still a little bit of complexity to it. What I'm seeing now as a trend by brands is to make it a dollar increment. Spend $100, get $10 back, period. I don't care what you buy, when you buy it, where you buy it. Hit the milestone, you get cash in your pocket. Who doesn't love cash? But what's the redemption process like? And I'm not thinking like Broadway musicals here, redemption. This isn't some deep philosophical road to the righteous. No. But how do I need to do this? If I have to get my stars and jump through hoops and fill something out and do something else to submit it to get that coupon back for a free coffee, what? Share a Coke 2-3 years ago. Coke uses just a handful of qualified vendors to do things. We use coupons.com. We said that if you bought a Coke on Coca-Cola Freestyle, we will give you a Coke. Share a Coke, right? What did you have to do? We learned a lot from this one. What was the quote yesterday? Every failure is a learning opportunity, something along those lines. So with our free coupon, you had to go to coupons.com, download software on your computer, and print a coupon? Who prints anything? Who wants to download anything, right? Now I've got this other company that's not Coca-Cola, and I don't trust it. I trust coupons.com even less than I trust Coke. So what we made consumers do that? And then we question, well, darn, why didn't it work? There you have it. But again, for Starbucks, redemption's pretty easy, right? What do? Here's my code, here's my card, scan it, there's my free coffee. Birthday offer, here's my free coffee. Hey, it's Tuesday and it's raining outside, here's my free coffee. The thing I like about this is they weave in a lot of little surprise and delights as well. So it could be those bonus star days, it could be any of these big milestones. They do a really, really good job in this space. So in November, through the Freestyle app, our app when it launched was all about mixing, right? It was all about that real niche opportunity to spark a smile and sell a drink. But we launched a loyalty program in November of last year. Pretty simple. Pour 5 drinks, get $5. So if I go to Wendy's and I'm buying a drink for about $1.49, and you're going to give me $1 Amazon for every time I buy that drink, that's a pretty sweet deal. And I only have to buy 5. It clearly tracks my status on the 5. And you know what? I also have the Amazon app, and I've probably got a dozen Amazon boxes sitting in front of my door today. And I know I'm on Amazon all the darn time. Okay, that seems like it's pretty easy. And what we realized is in the first month, in November of last year, we would do roughly 20,000 handshakes. So a connection of a phone to a machine is a handshake. We would do roughly 20,000 handshakes a month before rewards. In November, that was 70,000. By December, it was 100,000. In March, it's 150,000. There's your hockey stick that a marketer loves to see on a chart, right? There you go. That's success. And when we think about habit forming, we realized, well, the strategy behind this was we knew app holders were pouring 3 drinks a month. They were doing 3 handshakes a month. Okay, that's not bad. But can I get them to do more? Can I increase that to 5? Well, if I tell them to buy 5, how many do you think they're going to buy? 8. Because one of the things we did is you can actually earn 2 gift cards. Swipe, you get another punch card, so you can earn $10 out of this deal within this program. And we increased the number of handshakes per user from 3 to 8. Pretty compelling information internally. But again, it's big, it's complex, it's app development, it's a cost of rewards, it's this, it's that. Internally, this is a struggle. As much as we like seeing the hockey stick, this is still a big conversation for us. It's a struggle. But again, what we learned. Facts are facts. Whoops. Again, the white on gray. We know app holders purchase more frequently. We know that on a rough order of magnitude, app holders purchase 20% more than non-app holders. The struggle that we face is very few people know we've got an app. So if I can solve the awareness piece, I know we've got the pull-through. I know that the app will be sticky and we've got a compelling offer and that habit-forming nature that we need. I know that our app holders have a higher quality of awareness. So what do I mean by that? They know where to find a machine. They know what's on the machine. These are the ambassadors, influencers, zealots, whatever you want to call this group. They know what's going on. They can sell the proposition better than I can, and they do without prompting in social. We know app holders have 97% positive sentiment about the brand. Coca-Cola, red can Coke, positive sentiment is 91%. We're at 97. When I show this to the brand team on Coke, it's like, huh? How the hell did you do that? So when we think about our journey and what we've learned from other industries, this is how we think the future should be shaped. 3 principles. If you remember nothing else, loyalty is the balance of the emotional and the transactional, right? It has to be a two-way relationship. You have to get something out of this relationship, as do I. And what I get out of it as a brand may not just be about the sale. If I influence 10 of you to become ambassadors and go out and tell our story, that's great. That's value for us. It's symbiotic and cyclical. Right? I can't just ask you for things, give you something once, and then go away. Well, what are you going to do for an app? What are you going to do with an app that you don't use? Delete it. There's a reason Apple, when you long press an app, everything starts shaking. They're scared as hell. Which one of me are you going to delete? I don't want you to delete me. Fact. Yes. So I don't want, as a marketer, I don't want you as a consumer to think, I'm going to delete Coke Freestyle. That's the worst thought. You may still buy my brand, but to have that conscious thought of, for whatever reason, I'm going to delete this, that's just not what we're striving for. And principle 3 is loyalty is automatic, right? If I do something enough, just opt me in, right? Give me that punch. There was no opt-in for our Pour 5 program. If you have the app, you're getting punches. Some consumers didn't even realize they were getting punches, and they were calling our customer care team and our social team, what's this for? Well, you missed the push, you opted out of this, you didn't see the banner, you didn't see the point of sale, you didn't see, but here's why, and here's what's going on. And it was, oh wow, thanks. I'm only one punch away and I didn't even know I got the first 4. That's awesome. But again, minimize the barriers to entry. Don't ask for everything up front. Don't creep somebody out. Don't make it so complex, like my coupon example, right? Where somebody just won't want to participate. And no matter how challenging it is, technically, don't put that burden back on the consumer. The other key piece to this is some of my best colleagues internally are the privacy teams. Because privacy law changes so much, you also have to know when and what and how to ask some of these questions so you stay on the correct side of that creepiness line. So that's it. That's loyalty. That's where loyalty has gone in the last 12, 18 months. I think you're going to see a huge shift in this space, warp speed, right? Things will become more simple. Things will become more mobile. They will be easier for you, the consumer, me as the consumer. And again, as marketers, whether you're big brand or small brand, agency or client side, figure out how you can influence that 8th purchase, 10th purchase, 15th purchase. How do you get that loyalty, no matter how you define loyalty? Find it, define it, figure out the value that you want to deliver, and then just run the plan. Thanks.